Hello, my name is Vitaly Giman from Quantum Leaders, and today I want to briefly talk to you about a very important topic of how do you resolve tensions between different departments or between a board of directors and CEO or even the shareholders and the organization. How do you resolve those tensions? Well, first of all, we have to recognize that those tensions can actually be good for the company. And in fact, that is the creative tensions that often drives, this is the energy that often creates new things within the company, which creates change, right? So let's not, first of all, let's not call it a bad thing or avoid conflict, because organizations that avoid that conflict have major problems, right? We need to be able to use the conflict resolution as a creative source. Number one. Number two is we need to recognize what it is we're dealing with, right? It's not just a different views or opinions. We literally have two different entities. Even though it could be a whole engineering department, we can view the engineering department as a living person. And this comes from the work of the living organizations that me and Norman Wolf are working on. Norman Wolf wrote a book called The Living Organization. You can look it up on Amazon. So literally this entity, this engineering is a living entity with its own personality and its own view of the world. And this is the key part. It has its own context. This living person has its own context. And it views the world through certain color glasses, right? So the engineers view the world as long as we get the technology right and it's high quality and superior technology, this organization will thrive, right? They don't necessarily often look at the cost and viability. This is not their world, okay? The marketing department looks through their point of view, the sales from their point of view, the ops and so on, and HR does their own thing. And this is why we have these silos organizations, right? So what do we do when we clash, when it's a fundamental clash of views? Well, the first thing we do is we recognize it's a separate being, and we need to understand it from their point of view. Right now, if you have this situation, we have here you have the, say, the engineers, and then here we have the finance guys. We literally are not even close. We need to come together and find the common ground, right? Where is that point of common ground? That means both of them need to get into each other's mindset and language and see if they can communicate what they heard from each other in their language. So a finance guy might say, okay, so what you're saying is if we get the IT and infrastructure correct, if we have this digitization technology, we will be able to raise our revenue by X and reduce our cost by that. We'll be more efficient. Is that what I'm hearing here? And they might say, well, not exactly, right? We need to do that and that first. And so there will be a process of feedback and then there'll be at least true listening. That's very important because people want to be heard. And in fact, departments want to be heard and acknowledged for what they do. That's the second step of the resolution, is hearing each other from the heart, really true, deep listening. And each of the parties needs to try to do that. I know it's difficult because you're literally seeing the world from a different color glasses, but if we can try, that gets you a little bit closer together. The third step is recognizing this. Even though we're different departments, or we're a board of directors and CEO, or even we are investors who are looking for short-term return and we need long-term vision, that's another polarity. We are working for the common good of the organization. We both want the organization, this entity, this living being called the organization, this family, to succeed, right? So the third step is having a clear vision of what does success look like for this organization in the future. For that, we use a tool called Strategic Compass, where we actually sit down and clearly define where are we going as a company? Who are we becoming? And I'm not just talking about what products we make or what markets we get into and so on. That's a different issue. But who are we becoming as a company? Why are we here? What is our long-term purpose? And what is our new story for the future? How are we serving our clients and the planet and the community? Right. Once we really agree on that, on the new story, then when we have those conflicts, it's easier to say, you know what, I get it. Okay, this time around, I may concede my ground, for the good of the new story and the future of the organization. So I may violently disagree with you, but you have my blessings. Go ahead and let's do the financial availability. Let's do it your way for now. The other way in the future, maybe it's somebody else will concede. So it is this. This is how families work, right? I mean, if you have two partners and they need to be able to let go and compromise for the good of the family, and this is exactly what we need when we have those conflicts. And if we cannot do that, we're heading for a divorce, literally, right? If we cannot concede ground, if we not can see each other from each other's point of view, if we don't care for the good of the company, if we just stand for, then we have a problem. This is the third or the fourth step. Sorry, I lost my steps. So the final step is, if that doesn't happen, and we need to have a conversation with this person who is in the way, or maybe a whole department, and saying, listen, we have a problem. Fundamentally, this is the choices that you have. You can fight and you can get it your way, but that's not the direction the organization is taking. Or you can change and adopt a little bit and compromise and develop yourself in a direction that we need for the good of the company. Or the third option is, you find yourself a different organization, and we will support you wholeheartedly, give you a great recommendation, so on, and you leave. And that could happen to a whole group of people, not just individual, right? I've seen that happen for 20% of the company, where the company literally shifted its direction and story, and a whole group of people no longer were fitting within the future organization. And it's painful, but it's for the best of the organization. So here is just an overview of how we deal with these tensions and conflict. Of course, there is much more, and it's much more intricate. Be happy to speak to you more. Thank you. Bye-bye.